In 2001, Microsoft released Windows XP. XP introduced a theming engine to Windows, allowing the native application of so-called visual styles to the Windows user interface for the first time. Visual styles are a graphical skin that's loaded on top of the default Windows user interface, retroactively known as Windows Classic. During the development of XP, Microsoft worked on a selection of prototype visual styles. These were used to test the theming engine during development, as well as to act as decoys if any information about them leaked to the public. Secretly, Microsoft was working on a final visual style for XP, known as Luna. The first visual style likely tested during XP's development was Business, which was worked on during early 2000. This style would be iterated on over time, as well as going through a couple of name changes, first to Professional and later to Watercolour. It had one colour scheme, initially known as Default and later as simply Watercolour, plus non-functional code for a second, known as Champagne. Around the same time as the Business visual style was being tested, Microsoft was also working on another one known as Candy. This style, with a single colour scheme, appears to have been designed to resemble the so-called Aqua theme used on Apple's Macintosh operating system at the time, Mac OS X, although it's unknown why Microsoft chose to do this. The next visual style probably tested was Sample Test Visual Style, which was worked on during late 2000 to early 2001. This style had two colour schemes, Blue Lagoon and Chartreuse Mongoose. Following this, near-complete versions of XP's final visual style Luna with three colour schemes, Blue, later Default Blue, Metallic, later Silver, and Homestead, later Olive Green, would make their way into development builds, ready to receive the finishing touches before XP's release on the 24th of August 2001. During the development of XP's successor, Windows Vista, Microsoft again worked on a multitude of visual styles, again with the aim of these being temporary smokescreens until Vista's final visual style, known as Aero, was ready to be announced. In order, these styles were Plex, which was worked on between late 2002 and late 2003, its replacement Slate, which was worked on until mid-2004, and Jade, which existed concurrently with Slate from early 2004 until its replacement with a near-complete version of Vista's final visual style, Aero, in mid-2005. As was the case with XP's Luna, between this time and Vista's release in late 2006, Aero would undergo its finishing touches. It's also worth noting that Vista shipped with a less graphically demanding alternative to Aero, known as Basic. This was used as the default visual style on PCs deemed too low spec for Aero, as well as for compatibility with some older apps, and in Windows Vista Starter Edition. Owing to the unusually long development process of Vista, the longevity of XP was much longer than anticipated. In Windows XP's Media Center Edition 2005, a new visual style was introduced, known as Royale. During Royale's development, Microsoft also worked on a dark variant of the theme known as Royale Noir. Though Royale Noir was unfinished, it leaked online in late 2006. Shortly afterwards, Microsoft released a not dissimilar visual style, known as Zune, for download from their website to coincide with the launch of their new Zune portable media player. The final visual style for Windows XP arrived in Windows Embedded 2009, a version of the operating system designed for use in embedded systems, such as ATMs, and was known simply as Embedded. For 2009's Windows 7, the Aero visual style underwent some minor changes, but remained true to its counterpart in Windows Vista. For 2012's Windows 8, the famous Aero glass translucency effects were partially removed, and the visual style itself became flatter in appearance, to match the look of Windows 8's new, touch-optimized user interface, colloquially known as Metro. Windows 8 also introduced the so-called Aero Light visual style, which was used in the system's new high-contrast themes. The visual styles of 2015's Windows 10 and 2021's Windows 11 continue to use Aero as their foundation,